I think this might be the first time I've told this on any platform.
Okay.
So it is exclusive. I want to tell it like it is. I got to tell it how he want me to, to tell it.
People are going to come to you and say, yes, your song helped me not commit suicide. That's a compliment, but that's heavy.
Right. I'm saying standing on the other side with the whole state of Tennessee versus Justin Radford.
Mm-hmm. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of I'll Just Let Myself In with Lish Speaks. This is the podcast where we just let ourselves in. We don't wait for any imaginary permission slips or for somebody to give us a seat at some imaginary table. We let ourselves into our God-given goals and dreams. I'm excited because today I have a guest who has a buttery voice, is what I feel. Maybe oily, if you will. A voice that is really changing some things, I feel, in the gospel R&B space. But more than anything, someone who I've come to know is just submitted in his gift. And to me, that's the most important thing. He had a single that's actually dropped, and you guys will be hearing some of that. But before we get into that, let me introduce y'all to a minister, a writer, a producer, a dad, a man of God.
Amen.
All right? Justin Radford. Make some noise, y'all. Yeah. Is Radford the right way to say that?
Yes, man,
all right,
Radford,
Justin Radford. Perfect. All righty. So, Justin, I'm excited to have you here, man.
I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, we're going to talk. We're going to talk about your childhood. We're going to talk about your music. We're going to talk about your ministry and anything else I come up with.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
But before we get into that, I have one of the best segments in podcasting. It's called What I'm Stepping In. And that's where I tell you guys about the shoes I'm wearing for this episode. If you know me, you know I'm a sneakerhead. And listen, I got them things on my feet today. These are Saucony I Love You, But I'm Busy sneakers by J-Tips. I love this shoe. First of all, y'all know I love anything colorful. Y'all know I love anything that represents New York City. Shout out to J-Tips. I think he has single-handedly revitalized Saucony. In fact, most of us were calling it Saucony before he did this collab. And so I think he has given Saucony a new life in the sneaker world. He's probably too humble to say that, but I'll say it for him. I knew J-Tips as a sneaker reseller. Back in the day, I actually have DMs of me hitting him up about sneakers. And now he is off in the rafters. I don't DM him no more. I don't got that access. But I was able to get these from Soul Play. Shout out to Soul Play here in Atlanta. And I was able to snag a pair. So you know what I always say, y'all. If you like them, go get you some. All right. So Justin, man.
Yes,
welcome
ma'am.
to the couch.
Thank you for
welcome
having me.
to the couch.
I'm glad to be on the couch.
I'm excited.
And it feels good too.
And,
it's a nice couch.
We try to keep it comfortable around here. We try
I feel
to keep
like I'm at home.
Listen, I love that. You are at home. You know what I mean? You are at home. I got you. Listen, you are, like I said, a minister, a producer, a songwriter from Tennessee.
Yes, ma'am.
What part of Tennessee?
Clarksville, Tennessee. It's like right outside Nashville.
Yeah, because it said Nashville, but I feel like he's not from Nashville because you told me where you were from and it wasn't Nashville. Clarksville, Tennessee.
Like 45 minutes away.
Gotcha. So tell me a little bit of what it was like growing up in Clarksville and how your upbringing lent itself to where you are today.
Growing up in Clarksville, it was a lot of church. I'm a PK.
Yes.
My father's a pastor. Shout out to my father, Pastor Charles Radford, 5th Ward Missionary Baptist Church, Clarksville, Tennessee, where the glory of God abides. Now, so we grew up in church a lot, and that was a big part of my upbringing. But I also had to balance. Mm-hmm. So I originally, I'm from Cadiz, Kentucky, moved another 45 minutes down the road to Clarksville. And that's where I ended up growing up. So being from those two places that were neighboring, I had how it used to be in Kentucky versus how it became in Tennessee while growing up with, the PK microscope. But my father and my mother gave me a lot of balance. So growing up, it was, I fell off my bike like every other child. I stayed fighting, stayed getting suspended as a kid and as a teenager. So it's, they let me, bump my head, learn. because I think balance with growing up in faith-based communities is, we have to experience certain things. But I had a good childhood. Both parents, didn't come from the hood. I was just bad. but a lot of music, a lot of love, a lot of church services. My father pastoring when I was young, and my mother, they had a singing group. So a lot of that revolved around family time and the gifts of God. So
love that.
I did everything as a kid.
Yeah. Did you always want to be a singer?
Not at first. I thought I was just gonna be a musician. I started off playing drums, and I didn't really want to sing at first.
Yeah.
He always had to make me. You give me a part in church. I was the kid that acted like I couldn't hear nothing you said. Sing your part. What part? I just want to stay on my instrument and stay to myself. I was naturally introverted.
You play several instruments.
Yeah, piano, bass, guitar. Yeah. So that's how I grew up with that. So I didn't see singing at first. I just love producing. I love playing. I love instruments. And I had to learn how to sing to myself because I didn't have a singer. So growing up, me and my sister 10 years apart, so I felt like the only child. So I had to sing for myself, play for myself.
Yeah.
Engineer myself. So that's I had to sing.
Right. I saw that you write, you produce, that you play several instruments. When I listened to your sound, I had the pleasure of being able to go to the studio. Funny enough, we were both at the BMI Trailblazer of Gospel Award, but we didn't know each other just then. We would meet about 2 hours after that. And them
the stories I love. You can't make that up.
It's so cool. I was like, wait, you were there. But my manager took me over to your studios, and I was able to listen to some of your music. Your sound is so unique.
Thank you.
And you also have that down home. I can't sing, so I ain't gonna try to do it. But that little raspy thing that you do. I really do feel like there's an R&B slant, but you can't deny the gospel, right? Did you ever try to sing R&B? Like, did you ever try to go that route completely?
I did.
Yeah. I know.
If it was up to me, I would have been Usher or something like, or Jamie Foxx. God had other plans. I tried it, of course, but it wasn't smooth as I was trying to be out where you belong into.
Right.
I know I can hear where you from. You just like the church kids singing covers.
Yeah.
Yeah, can't deny it, can't hide it.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things I find that's allowing me to cut through is I'm gonna give it to you how I got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love every sound. I love every style of music, but I sound how I sound.
Yeah.
And you can tell who I listen to.
Right. Yeah. We're going to talk about that too in a minute, because I want to definitely know who your influences are, both musically and spiritually. So let me pivot into the spiritual side, because you also can preach.
Yes, man. Look at it. Yes, man.
You also
I love
can preach.
the Lord.
Yes. You know him. You know
I know him. And he know me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank the Lord for that. Let's talk a little bit about your spiritual roots and your ability to be both an artist and a minister. I think it's very admirable. I also think that there can be a little bit of like a fine line you have to walk, right?
The time.
Yeah, there's a fine line you have to walk. So what are some of the challenges that you find with being a musician and a minister? One
of the many challenges I find is, I tell my friends all the time, and while we riding there, we're in the studio, we're in the music business, but it's just not the music business. We're in the business of, it's souls that go along with this business.
Attached, yep.
So it's, when I want to act one way in the boardroom, I can't, because I still have to live by what I claim.
Absolutely.
And sometimes I fall short, sometimes I get it right, but dealing with people is the main struggle for me, because I want to tell it like it is, but I got to tell it how he want me to to tell it.
Oh yeah.
So what I'm saying, conducting myself is one of the many challenges when it comes to dealing with people and opposite and other opinions.
Yeah.
Because naturally, but supernaturally, I got to counteract it at the same time, and that could be a lot at once, because Lord knows. And also, just knowing when to be the artist and when to be the minister.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, dealing with the schedules that we have, people, we get into it just because we tired.
Yep.
Or we ain't eating right. We're not exercising.
You get enough sleep.
Anything, any little thing. You into it at home or, you get a phone call to change your whole mood. While you're on the road, while you're on company time, while you're doing different things
in the studio,
that matters and affects what you have to turn in. So it's a lot going into keep you praying.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things I find, in ministry is the difficulty of balancing your humanity with your call.
Right.
Like, I'm human.
Exactly.
Some days I'm going to have attitude. That doesn't mean I don't love the Lord or you. I'm just human, right? Like you said, I could be tired. There could be something going on in my family.
I'm hungry. I'm sleepy.
You know what I'm saying? It could be a whole lot going on. And I also think when you have a specific set of gifts, I was in the music industry. I am in the music industry in this media space. There is a certain way you have to present. You have to show up. You could be dog tired
every time,
as we are right now. Probably it's late. But you have to show up and you have to present. And it reminds me so much of Jesus, because when did Jesus get to be human? Right? He was fully human and fully divine, but he was fully human.
Right.
And there's so many stories of, Jesus would be out on the water and the crowds would come to him. He'd be walking through the crowd and somebody would touch him. There's so many times where Jesus had to show up and give in a way that I'm sure was difficult. And so one of the things I encourage people to do, one of the things I try to do is just really make sure that I'm tapped into him. I had a series of meetings yesterday and they were heavy.
Yeah.
Like the first one was at 5:30 in the morning with a woman that I pray with.
Ooh, that's real heavy.
And
5:30.
And you would think, we get up 5:30, we tired, so we just like, let's start praying. No, we get on that phone and she talking to me about what she got going on, and then I had 2 other meetings during the day, both very heavy. Right. And I remember told my husband, I said, I think I'm feeling heavy because I'm not giving these people's problems to God. Like when you're in ministry and you talk to people, even in the music,
I ain't thinking about it like that.
Yeah, even in the music industry, because you sing gospel music, people are going to people won't come to you, and I believe this for your life because I believe you're going to have global massive impact. People are going to come to you and say, yes, your song helped me not commit suicide. That's a compliment, but that's heavy.
Right. That is heavy.
They're going to tell you this story. I was going to do this. I was your song saved me from divorce. And it's heavy. And people come tell me, oh, yeah, you made this post. That post you made, it did. And they telling me all their business. And I'm realizing, I have to start praying for people immediately after they tell me stuff. I got to give it to God to solve. I don't need to be ruminating on it all day and night. You know what I mean? That's not on me.
And that's one of the things when you said stand at his feet and seeking him. I had to, we have to get up first.
Yeah.
I got to start my day with God just to prepare to deal with anybody.
And yourself included, right?
Right, because I do have children. I'm a son, I'm a father, I'm a brother.
Yeah.
So before I start, I gotta get to God, because at any point of the day, that phone could ring and I got to go.
Yeah.
Or any, what I'm saying, just anything.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. How has being a dad changed your relationship with the Father, God?
It helps me understand now how he could give his life for me. Because you hear it, but you don't understand until you in that seat.
Yeah.
And my daughter, she was born premature. So I couldn't understand before then how, somebody could really lay down their life for me until you're going to have to kill me before I let you hurt this little girl. And she was born premature, so it's even more fragile and delicate. So I was able to see, how he could even start to obey his father.
Yeah.
And for little old me.
Yeah.
And that's one of the main things that helped me with my walk, identify what I need to be a great father.
Right.
A lot of people are dads and fathers. It don't make you a good one. So I want to be a good one. I haven't been the best.
Yeah.
But I'm getting better every day.
Yeah.
And I'm 36.
36. Yeah. Okay. So you're a young dad.
I feel like I'm 40.
40's young too. But I'm 37. So I was telling the guy on the episode that I had before you, as I get older, I keep bumping up the age for what old is. So when I was 20s, I'm like, in my 30. Now I'm like 40 and under. You know?
I do the same thing, especially on Youth Sunday.
Absolutely.
I used to be able to say 18 to 25. I got to bump it up with me.
Yeah, that young professional ministry getting older and older in every church.
I had to move from the youth department to the young adult. My daddy's 11. You had to let that young part go. You just you up here with us.
Oh my goodness. So you have a single out. It's called Prophet. And it's based on the scripture. You know, what does it profit a man?
Yes, man. Mark 8:36.
Yes, Mark 8:36. And there's a scripture. Not a scripture. There's a lyric in that song where you say, I had to fall in line with God's plan for my life. And you talk about how you was living life crazy. I don't want you to get too much into your business unless you want to get
Let's
to
get into it.
But what do you feel like is the thing that God like got your attention with? Like, because the reason I ask this question is because, you know, just because we are preachers' kids or grew up in church doesn't mean we don't have a journey. You know what I mean? Doesn't mean we don't fall off. Doesn't mean we don't, you know. So sometimes God got to snatch us back up and say, you know. So what was that for you? What made you write this line?
I think this might be the first time I've told this on any platform.
Okay.
So it's exclusive. When I realized that my plan was, you know, saying off course, and I had to stay with God's plan, is I went through some things, and when I went to jail, and I was, you know, saying, standing on the other side with the whole state of Tennessee versus Justin Radford.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was laying in my cell, and I looked up on the bunk above me. I seen one cross. I looked to the door, seen another one. I knew right then is, if I don't stop now, if I don't change how I approach things now, as far as with how my temper was back then, you know, now I'm officially in a place that my father can't get me out of, my mother can't get me out of, and I had the money on me to bail out myself, but we didn't even sit for a little bit. Then we'll talk about it tomorrow. Then you can see nobody could get me out of this but God. And to the point where I really couldn't get out, so he had to come on in. And I knew then his plan for my life, let's let my plan go. Because, you know, because now, oh Lord, here, get me out, Lord. Now I'm all for his plan.
Yeah.
And, you know, so it really took me, you know, to lose everything.
Yeah.
It took that Job experience for me to understand, no, my way don't work.
Yeah.
So,
oof, that's deep.
So he met me in there.
Yeah.
And I keep that with me.
That's good. And I actually was going to ask you this, and this lends itself to it. I want you to tell more of your story. Recently, you kind of wiped your Instagram clean and started over. And I get it. As an artist, we got to start over. Rebrand. But one of the things I just had, shout out to Josh Salter was on here. We were talking about rebranding, but not leaving out the whole story. Yeah. Like sometimes when we go to rebrand, we don't want to tell the part that feels like failure. Like that sometimes is the reason we had to rebrand. Like, you know what, you know. And I have been tempted to do that in the past with certain things in my life. Like, you know what, let me just not. And what I realize is so much of what people enjoy about me is from my story. The thing that I thought is failure, the thing that I thought was embarrassing. You know, so much of what people can relate to, right? And it's, you need to use discernment, right? Obviously, right? Not share every single detail, you know. But two reasons. One, shame has no place, right? There's no condemnation, right? So when we start hiding stuff, we give shame a place, right? So that's number one. But the second part of it is when you understand your call, you know that the call is not just for you. So it's hard to really live fully in your call if you make it about you and what you feel or don't feel or what you're embarrassed by, not embarrassed by.
Get off my road, because that's how I was. That's how I was feeling. Not to cut like that's confirmation for me. Look, because you know, it's kind of reversed. So I tried to put it on. You know, I got to rebrand. Let's wipe the Instagram. We'll wipe the social medias. because God started to convict me on not telling the story. So now let's be transparent. Let's tell the story.
Yes.
So I had too many things that you know. Jeff would tell me all the time. They gotta know what they get.
Yeah.
They gotta know what they looking at. So you know, I was showing a little bit. Like you could tell when I got off focus on my page. You could tell when I, you know, you know what I'm saying.
I do
so
know.
I was like, now let's start over. Let's tell the story.
Yeah.
You know, tell the right story.
I love that. I love that.
You know, so it was kind of reversed for me. So now I'm ready to tell it.
Yeah.
You know,
it's gonna save people. It's gonna help people. It really is.
Because I call myself waiting on God, but I didn't want to be found spiritually unfit from turning away from the plow.
Right.
You know, so
would you say now you are falling in line with God's plan?
Yeah. I'm ready now. I'm ready now.
I can see it.
Not to not to say it's gonna be any easier than it was, but you know, when I lost my mother, I told them if I don't lose my mind and I make it back and stay with God, it ain't nothing on earth that can take me off of that. I lost my mother. Like half of my existence is in the ground. So God, if I make it with my right mind, if I make it with, you know, still calling on you, still holding on to you, it ain't a devil in hell or spirit, anything that can pull me away. So that if that's what it took to get me ready, I take it. Yeah. It hurt, but it made me, you know.
Absolutely.
So nothing. Now it's nothing.
Yeah. I always talk about my husband who lost both his parents in about the same calendar year, time-wise, maybe a little more. That was before we met. It wasn't long before we met, but it was before we met. And when I met him and realized he was still serving God, still smiling, still a joy to be around, I thought, I have to marry this man.
Maybe somebody thinks that about me.
And I'm going to tell you why. Because you said it. The hardest thing that can happen to this person happened, and he still loves God. Doesn't mean he's perfect. Perfect. You're not perfect.
Right.
But there's something to be said. People leave God for way less. People leave God because they broke up.
They're leaving for a headache.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You know what I'm saying? This relationship didn't work out, and I thought this was my husband. God, I heard you say this was my husband. And so the fact that I love that you shared that, because if you can make it out of the hardest things of your life, it does change, I would assume, and just from my proximity to someone who has lost parents, it changes your perspective on what difficulty even is. Right. You know,
and that was the main thing about it is, and I'm sure me and your husband was with God before it happened. And that's why I want to encourage anybody that's watching this and listening, you know, to stay with them, because that is the only way we made it back. Yeah. Of course, we wanted to crash out. I tell you, that's a part of a club you don't want to be a part of.
You always
like that too. It's like some kind of, you know, our own little family of grief. And so if we can do that, but we understand it was powered by God, because if it was up to me, I would have fell all the way out with him. Even at the funeral, I would have jumped in the ground with her if I didn't love my mother, didn't treat her right, and didn't understand that I'm gonna see her again. But you know, anyway, but that was only because we were already with God. So stay with him. Yeah. And if you ain't got him,
get him.
Profess him as your Lord and Savior, and get him and stay with him. Absolutely. I promise you.
I love that. That's so good. Let's talk about your spiritual influences. I'm sure your mom was one.
Yeah.
But who are the people that, you know, whether it be people you know locally, personally in your dad's church, or people that you've seen from afar that just help you spiritually?
Definitely my father. Yeah. Definitely and my mother. And see, my father he talked to me all the time. He talked like, I don't care what we was doing. I was so rowdy as a youngster. I couldn't even ride the public school system. Couldn't ride the bus no more. He had to take me to school every day, my school career. Yeah. To the day I graduated, every morning, me and him. And he would make me read books. He would tell me about different pastors. And when he introduced me to Dr. Miles Monroe. So I grew up reading his books. And then when I finally, you know, obeyed God and walked in my calling, I actually got to meet him.
Yeah.
in person before he passed in Detroit. We were filming a TV show.
Yeah.
And to see how he was from the book to in person, this is how I want to feel when people meet me. Because people forget what you do, they forget what you say sometimes, but they never forget how they felt,
how you made them feel
around you. That's somebody I watched from afar. And also Bishop Joseph Walker in Nashville, Tennessee, Mount Zion.
Okay.
And I was able to watch him, how he interacts with the members and how he deals with people. He's probably one of the main pastors taking selfies first. every time you leave the service, Bishop gonna take a selfie with you. Just how personable he was.
Yeah.
Even when I met Ludacris, that was the main thing that I was like, okay, this is how you respect people. This is how you treat people. And Jeff Shaka, just everybody that's around me helped my spiritual journey grow from way back then to this present day.
Yeah.
Because you know what I'm saying? Sometimes the talent is one thing, but if you don't know how to act.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yep. Listen.
They won't call you back.
They will not call
you back. No matter what. So definitely my father, and watching people from afar, because when God places those people, it's for me to learn. It's just not for me to, just make beats.
Yeah.
It's for me to learn something.
You talked about meeting Luda. You talked about Jeff and Shaka. Are you shocked when DTP wanted to partner with you, be down with you, sign you? I don't know all the logistics of your situation, but just working with them, did that shock you?
It did. I kind of snuck up on them. I was invited to a writing session at the studio, because I actually came through there with Ebony Sun Entertainment.
Okay.
That's how I got to the DTP family. And I was just writing songs, working with the engineering at the time, and Greg. So if you know Ebony Sun, you know Greg. And so he just walked up to me, Greg, he just straight to so what you want to do? I said, I want to do this. I said, well, what all you do? I write engineer. I go to listing off. So he said, all right, you come back tomorrow, call me. And then I never left.
Yeah.
And so I got in producing my R&B, because I was finna be Usher. So I was making my R&B music, still producing. They didn't know I could sing. They didn't know I came from church. They didn't know nothing. It was just, it's a fire young producer in town. Let's work with him. Let's give him a shot. And then one day I made a joke. I was like, Jeff, I'm a walk over with a gospel album like Kanye. And we laughed. He said, all right, bet. And I walked off and made my first gospel song in this situation called Keep the Faith. And it just worked. And then after that, they were like, well, this is where you need to be. Because I was trying to, not being authentic, trying to fit in somewhere else. And no matter what you do, authenticity will come through every time. And for them to see that, that's when it really that's when they believe in me for real.
Yeah.
Because they didn't shy away from it being gospel music. It's authentic.
Yeah.
I can feel it.
Yeah.
As Jeff say all the time, you got to evoke emotion.
Yeah.
I got to feel something.
Yep.
And that's what Christian music, gospel music is rooted in, feeling his presence.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I can surprise them with it.
Well, another thing that people may or may not know about you is that you rap as well. So you got bars as well, man. Right?
I got a few.
Give me your top 5 favorite rappers. They don't have to be Christian hip hop artists, but they can be. But give me your top 5.
Top 5
that influence you.
Top 5 that influenced me. My cousin Skinny DeVille from Nappy Roots.
Yeah.
That was influential on my sound, from the beginning. I would go spend my spring break sometime in the studio with them.
Nice.
Early on. Nas is crazy. Got to have Nas.
All right, Nasir Jones. Okay.
No big deal.
No big deal. What he's doing musically is dope. Live with the live stuff and all of that.
Right.
Just dope. Yep.
1K Few.
Yeah. Okay.
He put the new sauce on it.
Yeah.
I'm from down south. I don't care what y'all say. Master P.
Nah. Yeah.
That's the first album I bought, and my mama buying it. I wasn't even old enough to buy it. So they're my top 5, because I pull a little bit from every coast, every generation.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I think you can hear in your sound just how soulful you are, but also in the way you come with it, the way you write your lyrics, you can hear the hip hop influence all over Prophet. You can hear that. Da, 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 da. You can hear the cadence. I'm like, okay. I thought you was gonna say Drake or Kanye based on but we trying to stay politically correct, so I respect that.
I just wouldn't even. If I would have said it, I would have said it. I just,
Got you. But I definitely hear that. So like I said, you got this single out right now, and for you, right, the whole way we release music has changed in the last several years, right?
Yes.
You got
Totally
everything
different.
from pre-save to surprise drops to, you put a music video with or what we call now a visual. You put out visuals,
visualizers, lyric videos.
What do you do? When it came to Prophet and the message that you wanted to give, right? What was your mindset like on the release? What was your goals for the release? What are your goals for the release? Because we still rolling out right now.
The main thing with the release was being transparent and authentic, and because I do, listen to who I listen to and watch what I watch, I wanted to tell the story in a way that hadn't been. I'm not gonna say hadn't been showed yet, but I really want to pick scriptures that can be acted out.
Yeah.
Or that it's something to it. Like, what is the profit of man to gain the whole world? Like that right there is a conversation piece in itself. I wanted to sing music and write things that people could identify with and talk about.
Yeah.
So with the visuals is I got certain vices that I dealt with personally, and that I'm sure I'm not the only one that wanted the money, wanted the women, and had the alcohol and the different temptations. So that's, I wanted to show that in gospel, because sometimes in Christian
money,
music,
honey, and a henny. Yep.
Man, you better know it. So sometimes in the Christian space, they like you say, we shy away from telling the story. Nah, let's show it. And, I didn't make this up. This is what I dealt with. This is how I got through it, and this is how I'm getting through it.
Yeah.
According to the word. So I see me in it. So let's act it out. Let's bring it to life and tell it in a different way. Like that content day, we got another visual that's coming out. I feel like I'm an actor, on the inside. We really doing things that, playing with samples and narrations and just, just expressing ourselves differently.
Yeah.
And it's more of a cinematic approach.
Yeah.
Because that's, I want to tell it different.
I love it. You play several instruments. Tell us which instruments you play, and then tell me which one is your favorite and why.
I play piano, organ, drums, and a little bit of bass. Okay. I'm all right on bass.
Yeah.
But my favorite is gonna have to be piano. That's my predominant instrument. But I started out on drums. I went through something during COVID that messed up my motor skills and spinal cord injury, things like that.
Oh man!
So I can't
Brother,
play.
You've been through some things. So listen, the albums are gonna be fire.
So I can't. I can't even play drums like I used to, and it bothered me. And the only thing that kept my hands, I had church every week, so I was still able to move. I had to move.
Yeah.
With playing the drums with my leg and certain things, just so. Every instrument has been equally important to me now because I almost lost it with just the range of motion. So I don't care what it is. Like in some of the live shows and the content, I don't care if I'm playing the tambourine. I'm going to play it
right.
like it's the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Because I almost couldn't put my hands together and give him praise. As funny as things that we say sound like that.
Wow, yeah.
Like it ain't funny until you almost couldn't put them together. And anyway,
Can I ask
don't
what
get me.
happened? Is it something that you can't talk about?
I really don't know. It's I was working at Amazon at the time, and that's when COVID. I had caught COVID, but I didn't have any symptoms, so I'm all right. I went home one day and to change clothes, and I just fell. I was like, I'm tired, I'm tripping. Went to work the next day because I was almost the man at Amazon, so I was working the dispatch. Of that department. So anybody that knows dispatch, we catching the packages coming down the line. We put them in carts. We running them out to the cars. For all the flex drivers, then we just running all night. And I tried to chase a cart. They got away from me, and I in my head I was running, but I couldn't get my feet together. And that's when I was like, okay, something wrong for real. And I just kept dealing with it, trying to deal with it. And then I got to go on a few of the tour dates with Greg and them. And that's when the walking got worse. It was so bad he used to have to give me some of his medication just to just to deal with the pain until they had to take me to, I think it was Morehouse School of Medicine. I used to have to go on Saturdays when it was closed. And then that's when they called it chronic bilateral something. With some big name. Man, essentially, you're saying started in the nerves, but it's like, just affected certain things, certain ranges of motion.
Man.
So that's what happened. I'm still dealing with it. So like seeing me walk in here and sit on the couch, it was a time I couldn't have put the left one in front of the right to sit on the couch the right way.
So let me tell you, I'm hearing first of all, we pray for healing in the name of Jesus.
Oh yeah, he done healed me. It made me better. I'm about 75.
But what I hear is that like these guys, Jeff, Greg, and all them, they really been down for you outside of the music stuff.
Right. Cause I ain't think because they say it's just not the music. We got to manage your life. And they really turned into the family and the uncles for me.
I was getting ready to say.
Because they have to manage my life. It's time,
Yep. Yeah. How important is it, or what we know is important? What kind of advice would you give an up-and-coming artist when trying to choose a team, when trying to, people are approaching them or maybe even poaching them?
Right.
What advice would you give them on how to choose the right people? I feel like you and I have both been blessed. We've chosen well in our collaborations and endeavors. But what advice would you give?
The advice I would give is pray first. Pray. That's, because everybody's story might not turn out like ours.
Yeah.
And, I just jumped. And I've had bad contracts along the way.
Yeah.
But if I was to tell my younger self or those coming up, pray first.
Yeah.
And just do the work. Put it out. Release it.
Yeah.
And God will send the people that you need for your team. Because if you get a team and you're not doing anything, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Now you run the risk of other people, other influences, other things telling you maybe to go against some of the things that God told you to do. And just because they're further than you, they'll be able to influence you in certain ways.
Yeah.
So know what you need your team to do. Pray for the right team. And when God give them to you, honor them, respect them, work with them.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people I see just don't work with their team. Just because somebody else can do it for you, that don't mean they supposed to do it for you.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't pick people anymore. God got to send them.
Yeah. I like to tell artists as well, personalities, whatever, right? Like, if you look at, when you sign to someone who already has motion, or when you do a deal with someone who already has motion, right? Their lives won't change a whole lot if you don't make it. Their lives will change a lot, potentially, if you do, and your life will certainly change a lot if you do. And so signing with whether it's me with Holy Culture or you with DTP, and then expecting them to do all the work is silly. They already got their money. They're already doing well.
I'm trying to make it. I'm trying to make it easy on them. I don't want them to have to do use that help your team.
Yes.
I just can't sit there and look at them
and do your part.
Like today, even when we came here, we was at the studio. Like boom, all right, come on, Trey, we going through the podcast. We celebrate later. The single came out. Yeah, we got to go. We got to work. You saying we got to honor the relationship. Like ain't no way I was going to miss this.
Yeah, I appreciate that, man.
And that's being here. And that's gonna help them be able to make it easier when they make certain calls.
Correct. Yeah.
Or we do certain things. I remember I saw you.
Yes.
We listen on Holy Cut.
Absolutely.
I remember you. And then they can pass that along to.
Yep. And it's about doing the things that you may not always feel like doing. Like we were at an event together the other night. And I was dog tired, man. I had a long day. I was far from home. You ain't gonna be able to tell I'm tired. The only person that ever see me tired is my husband. Everybody else, I'm lish, right? Yeah. I'm here for a reason. If I was gonna be a stick in the mud, I could stay home. If I was gonna be dull and uninviting and not warm and welcoming, I could have just went home. And sometimes I do. You gotta know when you don't have it to give. That's important. There are times when I'm like, I don't have it to give. I'm gonna sit this one out. But what I've learned is I cannot expect anyone to be more excited about my career, and more than my career, the call that God has put on my life. He didn't call them. He called me. Now, they care enough to be a part of the process, but he called me. And it's so funny because one of my biggest influences in this, unfortunately, he is a crash out, and I can no longer support him in this season of his life. But I learned this from Kanye West. When you think about how Jay-Z took over Rockefeller, right? And everybody else who was in that realm. You talking Beanie Siegel, you talking Petey, you talking Foxy, you talking Memphis Bleak, you talking Tierra Marie.
Yeah.
And you talking Kanye. The only person to me, now this is my outside, I wasn't anywhere near their industry at this point.
Yeah.
But the only person who said my career is in my hands was Kanye West.
Yeah.
Not only did he become as big as Jay-Z, some could argue that in his height, he was bigger than. Kanye West put out ugly foam sneakers, and we all said we had to have them. Because he said, no, I'm not waiting on Jay-Z. And I feel like sometimes people they sign with, they collab with, they do a deal with an entity
and that's probably
that is
what
bigger
made
than
Jay-Z
them.
respect it more.
Yeah. With the entity that is bigger than them. And then they expect that entity to do all the work. But that entity is good. Why would they?
They tell me all the time, I can't want it more than you.
You can't.
No matter what, just go get it.
Yep. And I
you
learned
take
that.
it to, what do you say? You take it to 1 to 5, we take it 5 to 10.
Yeah.
So we got to do the 5.
Yeah. I think about that all the time. And just lots of people. Like I think about, I tell people all the time, I'm a Christian, but a lot of my influences are not necessarily Christian.
Right.
Like I think about DJ Khaled. I think about Oprah Winfrey. These are people who were already successful when they said, nah, we got to take it up.
Yeah.
Oprah already had finished her career with a 20-something-year-old show. She said, I think I want to start a network. DJ Khaled had already worked with everybody in the game, and he just started shouting, we the best, and being all over TikTok and being all over whatever. And now he had all these crazy deals. You know, they could have been like, I'm good, I'm straight, I got my paper, you know, but they decided, nah, I'm going to give my all. And I think, you know, to be a legacy artist, to be a legacy act, to be a legacy whatever you're going to be, you could be a legacy plumber.
But that's
you got to give it your all.
But that's what helps the next generation.
Yes.
You know, because they at the studio just as long as we are, if not longer.
Yeah.
Some days. And that helped me realize, like, people that can quit, they can retire if they want to.
Mm-hmm.
They not even quitting. So what I look like, no. We got baby steps. You know, got to work hard. Come 1,000 there, cool. Millionaire, cool. Billionaire, let's go. But I can't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He can't want it more than me.
Yeah. And not only that, I think a lot of times in the Christian space, sometimes we just don't act in excellence. Because it's like, oh, well, we just showing, you know.
Yeah, I don't think in Christian, but that's everywhere.
We got to tighten up. But I appreciate the artists of today, because there's so many of y'all who are like killing it, like visuals excellent, vocal, you know, taking care of their voice, you know what I mean? Being excellent in that way, showing up excellent, being innovative and trying new things. And I just think it's such just give you your flowers. It is such a jewel in the crown of the kingdom.
Right, man.
Because we can show our young kids, you don't got to be whack to be a Christian. Like some of my biggest influences are people who I saw in my local church who were just cool. Right. Like, let's take all the deepness off of it. Everybody, I wanted to be a Christian because I saw a Christian be cool. And I said, oh, I don't got to be corny to do this. Well, maybe I will study the Bible. Literally. That's what I thought at 13 years old. You know? And so I just appreciate attention to detail. I appreciate you telling your story from a real place. And I'm super excited to see where your career goes from here. I want you to sing a little bit of your single that's out right now. Just give us a little taste.
All right, let's do it.
Just give us a little taste, and then I got one more question for you after that.
All right. So this is my new single, Prophet. It's out right now. You can go get it on all platforms. Wherever you listen to music, I'll be there. And follow me at I am J Radford, all social media, and let's talk about it. So, yeah. What does it profit a man to gain the whole wide world and just lose his soul? Yeah, and lose his soul. Oh, that's the favorite part of my verse. Lord, I follow you, God, wherever you go. I tried it on my own a couple times before. Chasing this world and material things. Wake up in different cities, still feeling the pain that I felt last night. But last night felt right. Sin way too high. What it cost this time. Living my best life. Money, power real high. She was just my type. Had to change my life.
Yeah.
Prophet.
Prophet. I love that. Listen, y'all, go check out Prophet. You'll hear it here on Holy Culture as well, but go ahead and stream it wherever you get your music from.
Stream it.
Also, lock in with Justin. Follow him on social media. I have had the privilege of hearing some of the other music. If you like Prophet, you're gonna love what he got to come. I know you got visuals coming out. Again, I just want y'all to really lock in with this brother, because I really do believe that he's a big part of the future of gospel music and of this rhythmic gospel music that we have that's coming out right now. I ask a lot of people when they come to this show one question to end it out. That question is, in the grand scheme of things, what do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, you're going to hit me like that. In the grand scheme of things, what I want my legacy to be is, I want people to be able to identify with the transparency of the journey. Like, if I made it, you can make it. If I failed right here and you identify with that, I did it for you. Do better. And because I think about that a lot. It's funny that you asked, because I want to live a life that when I am gone, I want some people crying that I'm gone, because I don't want you to be like, that's what he get. I'm glad he gone. Like, no, I want a packed funeral. I want people to be like, he loved me. He had my back. No, that's how I try to live.
Yeah.
I want to teach somebody something. Or he showed me how to do this.
Yeah.
Or he gave me my first shot. My first song was recorded with him. Or, he played for me for free. Anything, something that I can give.
Yeah.
For you to keep, not for me to get anything from it. Like, take a little of this with you, and you do it bigger.
Yeah.
I just want to leave. So whatever that is, that had to be music. I want you to remember me and miss something that we shared. Yeah. That's what I want to do. I want you to remember me.
That was a great answer. Ladies and gentlemen, Justin Radford was here, and check out his new single, Prophet, wherever you get your music. This has been another episode of I'll Just Let Myself In with your girl Lish Speaks. I'm so grateful that you spent some time with us. If you watched us on Holy Culture, Sirius XM channel 140, on their YouTube, or listen on the station, thank you for checking us out there. If you've watched this on my YouTube channel, Lish Speaks, thanks so much for checking it out there. Lock in with me at Lish Speaks on all social medias, lishspeaks.com, if you want to see all the things I have going on. And if you want to write us an email, speakers@lishspeaks.com. We'd be happy to hear any feedback that you have. As I always ask of you, please leave us a review. If this blessed you, share it with somebody. Let them know what we got going on over here, because we are a community of people who are walking through our God-given doors. This has been another one, and I want to see you same time, same place next week. Peace, y'all.